We are going to start our session. Yeah, already 3:01. So we are going to start right away. So please have a seat. Then we can start our session.
Now it's very quiet. Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to the session 6, DRT, the demand responsive the transportation system for inclusive mobility, jointly hosted by Korea Transport Institute and the Sejong City and the Hyundai Motor Group or company. So I think it's this session in also the many online the audience are joining this session as well. My name is Jae Ha-go. I am the president of Korea Transport Institute, and from now on moderating this session with you for an hour now. I think time is very limited, so we have to proceed very quickly. I think this session aims to introduce the role and the policy and the technological development for DRT in Korea, and also we are going to share some experiences and lessons of for the DRT operation service in Sejong City, which is jointly operated by the Sejong City and the Hyundai Motor Group company. So this is also maybe during the panel discussion, we will see some important implications of the DRT applications to developing countries, I think. Perhaps the Ben will say something about that. This session now is proceed with the, first of all, welcome address and the two key presentations, and followed by the three panel discussions. Maybe I hope, because the presenters and the panels should keep the time, following the original schedule. We are going to have 2 or 3 questions, hopefully, to answer and to discuss. Okay. So first, let me introduce the Mr. Min-ho Choi, our honorable mayor of Sejong City, for his the welcome address. Please come. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Min-ho Choi, the mayor of the Sejong City of South Korea. Thank you very much for the opportunity to participate in Transforming Transportation Conference today. The Sejong City is similar to Washington, D.C., is an administrative capital of Korea. And we take great pride in our safe and clean public transportation system. We have been focusing on improving public transportation services. Many advanced technologies, such as bus rapid transit, BRT, autonomous driving cars, and demand response transport, DRT, today's theme, are testing as trial services in our Sejong City. Moreover, 50% of city residents take advantage of public bicycles on a daily basis. I'm sure that we share the common goal of building a sustainable and eco-friendly public transportation system today. At today's session, I hope we all can have a fruitful time by exchanging the unique knowledges and experience in every fields and its countries. Thank you again.
So from now on, we are going to have two presentations. First presenter, Dr. Kyung-Ha Park. Kyung-Ha Park is the Chief Director of the Department of the Metropolitan and Urban Transport Research at Korea Transport Institute. Kyung-Ha will introduce about the general aspects of the DRT service, mainly the policies, technological development, and some regulations as well. So please, Kyung-Ha, you keep the time 10 minutes, all right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
not more than
definitely.
10 minutes. Yeah,
Definitely.
please go on. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Kyung-Ha Park, as he introduced. Thank you for giving me this honorable chance to have a presentation in TT 2023. Here, I would like to discuss about what we have done so far to enhance the mobility for the underserved by introducing DRT as an affordable way to solve some kind of transportation the problem. Okay. Right. Why we need DRT now? Nobody denies the public transport is very important, but however, in many countries, we see the declination of public transport and as a major transport issue. This affects to increase in deficit and worsening the quality of services and competitiveness. It leads to the increase in private car use. So DRT as a median solution between private cars and public transportation can be an affordable way to solve this problem. History of DRT, as shown here, is not very long in Korea, actually. It was not until 20s that special transport for people with disabilities was introduced as a first DRT. And this expanded to rural and urban DRT to provide mobility in blind areas of public transport because by commercial viability. Rapid development of ICT has made DRT smarter and more advanced. The application of ICT technology to match real-time demand and supply can significantly improve the efficiency of DRT operation. This is some explanation about the special transport, but because of time, I'm going to skip this slide and this one as well. You can see later on. This shows how many DRTs we have now. So, but there are some couple of reasons why the advanced DRT is so rapidly growing in Korea. First, penetration rate of smartphone in Korea is very high, almost the top countries in the world. And then second one is ICT startup, who are supported by government and private investor, look for new business model or market in transport industry. And third, national project on smart city promote mobility innovation, and the DRT is included as a good solution with low cost. Fourth, regulatory innovation initiative, so-called regulatory sandbox, lower the barrier to test ICT technology in real world. So here are some case studies of DRT currently operated in Korea. So I would like to put some technologies of advanced DRT into 4 functions. The first one is user interface. A mobile application and in-vehicle display can serve as a critical touch point of, for users accessing DRT services and providing access to the important information or features that can improve the user's experience and optimize dispatching and routing for every single request, increase the complexity of calculation to find the best solution of them. And management of on real-time reservation, fleet management, and monitoring are also implemented. And the last one is service need to be optimized according to the data collected. So machine learning algorithm is applied for this. Okay, so I'm going to skip this one as well. So current DRT service keep being updated by diversifying the service quality. Dynamic pricing is considered as more personalized services by adjusting fare in real time according to the number of passengers, distance, or the time of day. Commercial viability would be better. However, the increase in complexity and customer adaptation would be a barrier to overcome. MaaS, including DRT and other transport services, is a single platform, is one that future mobility indicates. True MaaS should be evolved into a single integrated form that connect urban and interregional transport services. And it is also possible to consider advanced services, such as reducing the long waiting time and detours, introducing the kind of shortcut route, and providing special services for who needs special care, so like elderly or people with a disability. Okay, I'm going to show you this another example for future DRT. Autonomous DRT is what future DRT shows us, being a solution to reduce the labor cost and elevate workforce shortage. National R&D project of developing autonomous DRT is conducted by COTIC Consortium. And then the project aims at operating 10 autonomous vehicles for DRT services by 2026 in Living Lab, which will be announced in shortly. Okay, this is some technology for autonomous DRT. And then another DRT service that will be shown in shortly is Seoul Metropolitan DRT, so-called MDRT. In general, public transport is well developed in metropolitan area compared to the other parts of countries. However, there are some blind areas of where public transport service is not enough because of that low level of demand, etc. So some example of that, the blind area is kind of new towns in the very beginning stage, like Sejong City, or outskirts of metropolitan area. So DRT, MDRT actually, MDRT is being designed to connect some residential area to subway station or BRT station near to the several city centers. This pilot project aims to implement MDRT services in 6 cities in Seoul metropolitan area by 2025. And then this project is done by COTIC Consortium as well. Okay, sorry about this. Well, this is we have another slide, but I'm going to give you some lessons from the Korea DRT. So first one is barrier and then challenges. So one challenge is technical innovation. So digital technology such as mobility communication, GPS, and data collection for public transport operation should be ready in advance. AI-powered algorithm is essential technology for matching supply and demand. And development optimized algorithm that minimize waiting time or detour is also necessary. Technical issue would not be the very difficult one. Rather, economic efficiency seems too difficult to achieve. It is expected that operating cost of DRT services can reduce the common services by approximately 27%. So that this is why DRT is considered as a low-cost solution. However, DRT would not be that commercially viable because of the low level of demand in service area or failure to matching the demand and supply insufficiently. Thus, subsidy is required to introduce the DRT and keep going the services going on. The last one is service, social agreement and inclusion. The first, the social agreement means that conflict with other transport like taxis or buses. And then it is important to devise like a kind of a win-win solution for them. So there is Paju City in near Seoul metropolitan area, and where bus operator company collaborate with DRT operating technology company. So that could be a good practice. Deregulation for new business model should be done in due course as well. Social inclusion, especially for the people with a low level of digital ability, would be another blind spot for these services. So this is the three takeaways from the Korea practice. The well-developed condition of ICT enable us to implement the DRT services. So I would like to point out that proactive investment for ICT infrastructure and digital ability are very crucial. And such a new mobility require a kind of a nudge to be come out from the lab to the real world. Pilot project led by Korean government is play a key role for us to experience the DRT services. So this would not be possible without the support and investment by private sector. So this support and collaboration between public side and private side is essential. Deregulation for new technology should be taken into account, and the institutional reform would be the next step to go. So this is a brief presentation about we have done for new mobility. The Korean practice of DRT may put a small step for future toward future mobility. So I hope that today's discussion would give more plentiful insight into the countries who are looking for another affordable way to enhance public transport. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The Kyung-ha say the DRT is new mobility because it is using the new technology, mainly the ICT technology, smartphone technology. And also she says DRT service is useful, applicable, not only for the rural and the small and the medium cities, medium cities of the low demand, but also the useful for the metropolitan, which is a big city, especially in the commuting time. You see, so I think it's the DRT is quite the promising the new service for everywhere. Perhaps later we see that is also very useful even for the developing countries as well. Thank you. Next presenter is Soo-young Kim. Soo-young Kim is the president of the TAS division. She will explain about TAS, Hyundai Motor Company. So we are very happy to invite the Hyundai Motor Group. You know, the Hyundai Motor Group is a giant the car manufacturing company, and then they are now interested in showing the interest to the mobility service operation, actually. So we see what the Hyundai thinks about the future mobility service. Please go on. Yeah.
Hi, good morning. Oh, I think it's the wrong slide. Anyway, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Soo-young Kim, designing a new urban transportation service at Hyundai Motor Group. 네. I'd like to introduce the case of demand responsive transport service. In practice, DRT is becoming more and more prominent as a sustainable mode and has a potential to answer urban challenges in conjunction with ICT. Hyundai Motor Group is undertaking a challenge for a better quality of life with smart technologies. Along with preparing for future through urban air mobility and self-driving, Hyundai is also putting effort into solving ongoing problems with DRT service, Shuttle. We will start from cities and people. According to UN Habitat's World Series Report 2022, 56.2% of entire population worldwide is living in urban areas. Korea's National Statistics Report on the urban planning status stated that the urbanization rate exceeded 90% from 2021 in South Korea. We already know about the problems following the concentration of population in urban areas. Traffic congestion and environmental pollution are the first to spring to mind. In 2018, the Korea Transport Institute reported that the traffic congestion cost in South Korea amount to $52.5 billion. In Seoul metropolitan area alone, where 50% of entire population dwell, congestion costs of $27 billion are incurred every year. Then based on this, we can tell that traffic congestion is number one culprit. The increasing number of single drivers are aggravating the situation. Walking and transit-oriented urban planning is emerging as an attempt to deal with these car-centric urban issues. 15-minute city of Paris, announced in 2020, Melbourne's 20-minute neighborhood, complete neighborhoods of Portland in 2013, and 15-minute Busan in South Korea from 2021 are all examples of X-minute urban policies placing people's daily life in the center. All of these policies pursue walking, bicycling, and transit-oriented sustainable urban transportation. However, in Korea, the average trip length is at 29 minutes. The most used mode is private cars, but public transit ridership is declining every year. In fact, we are witnessing a frequent increase in the number of newly registered vehicles in new towns, with lacking public transit and poor accessibility pointed out as the main problem. In order to fulfill the local travel demand in new towns, additional public transit routes are required, but it's still a hard decision to make, considering the amount of subsidy already being provided. Therefore, private car model share is significantly higher in new towns than in metropolitan areas in Seoul. Now it's our service. Shuttle is designed to make the short distance everyday travel more convenient and to find a fundamental solution in urban transportation. The main trait of Shuttle is its flexibility, operating in accordance with the user's travel demand. This is what differentiates Shuttle from the conventional public transit, plus ride-sharing service enable users with similar route to travel together. This is similar to public transportation as well. A real-time dispatch algorithm allocates adequate vehicles and build optimized routes that answer to the user's demand. As a previous presentation from Kotti explained in detail,
demand-responsive transport emerged as a flexible mode of public transportation in rural or suburban areas in the early 2000s. It's now perceived as a new form of urban transportation coupled with ICT. DRT is now utilized as a first and last mile transit mode linked to the conventional public transportation network and as a feeder to mass transit. Yeah, now let us watch a short clip and see how Shakur works. There's no sound. It's real one. There is driver screen. Okay, let's skip it. Shakur DRT service is being provided in the form of public transit in Newtown in South Korea. Current service areas include Sejong City and Newtown around Seoul. The concept of DRT as a mode of urban transportation is yet to be defined in the Korean legal framework, but the regulatory sandbox system made it possible for us to implement Shakur. Our service has a limited radius of about 2 kilometers, targeting trips within the neighborhood. The number of users steadily increasing since the introduction of paid service in March 2021. A total of 150,000 users traveled with Shakur so far. 28 service vehicles now transport 67,000 passengers per month, compared to about 6,000 users in the first month with only 6 vehicles. That's about the 11-fold growth. Customer satisfaction is also steadily improving along with the increasing number of users. According to the user survey from last December, over 90% of respondents steadily stated that they would continue using our service. The willingness to recommend the service turned out to be strong as well, with Sejong demonstrating 95% positive responses. 70% of Shakur users are women. Looking at the age distribution of Shakur users in Sejong and Paju, the main customer base is those in their 20s and 50s who are most active in both areas. In addition, the proportion of teenager users who are highly dependent on public transportation is also significant. Although the current use rate is low, considering the high reliance of the elderly on public transportation, we plan to add a caller light function this year to assist those who are not familiar with smart digital devices. Weekday usage pattern shows 2 peak distributions, morning and evening, similar to public transportation usage, that demonstrate that DRT is being used for mandatory trips such as commute. In Sejong, service used by teenagers is prominent, and short-distance travel patterns active due to neighborhood-like centers' urban design, while traffic demand is always high in Paju, which has a poor public transportation network. On the weekends, peak hour doesn't form in the morning. In Sejong, teenagers show high usage rate throughout the day. Trips involving teenagers in areas with limited public transit accessibility or late at night are frequently accomplished by their parents' car. It can be assumed that increasing independent trips of teenagers with Shakur would have played a part in reducing car traffic. Travel patterns differ by local characteristics as well. Visualizing the ride data on weekdays shows that the traffic demand in Sejong, a planned city composed of living area, is widely distributed. On the other hand, the traffic demands in Paju, a city where urban development has just begun, tends to be especially concentrated in high-density residential and commercial areas, as well as subway stations heading to Seoul. This indicates that different DRT operation methods reflecting the urban characteristics might fit different cities. In the case of Sejong, a flexible route operation system seems fitting, whereas in Paju, a semi-fixed route operation system might work better at certain time periods. Travel purpose is almost identical to that of public transit. can I say? Accessibility is an important factor in choosing public transit. When using shuttle, walking time to the boarding spot is 3 minutes on average, which is half the time needed for public transit. Shuttle can make use of every bus stop nearby, which enhances its accessibility, unlike fixed route bus with designated stops. Service users are named significant, insufficient, or inconvenient public transit as the #1 reason of choosing shuttle in our survey. Other reasons for choosing shuttle were reduced time travel, availability at the desired time, seat reservation, and comfort in the car, and physical proximity. Respondents stated that they mainly chose shuttle as an alternative to buses, but the bus ridership still remains at a high level instead of car, which has the second preferred mode of transportation. This can be seen as a decrease in the vehicle usage rate in the service user group. Of course, there are limits to qualitative figures. Some of the users' reviews include a student reported greatly improved convenience in commuting to school, and various accounts of pleasant riding experiences describe satisfaction with sustainable transportation use. Multiple expression of daily life has expanded with the convenient and comfortable transportation. Platform-based DRT service has a potential develop into a smart mobility infrastructure. Shuttle is an example of this, which is currently in service for improved urban mobility convenience. With this in mind, we are currently running a self-driving shuttle DRT project as an attempt to physicalize the future of public transportation. The first route-based self-driving shuttle pilot project took place in Sejong in 2021, now continuing in neighboring cities of Seoul. Its work. Yeah, that is the last. Moreover, a proof of concept in connection with urban air mobility services currently in preparation. People will be able to freely choose from a variety of options combining diverse transportation modes depending on a user's travel purpose and destination. I believe urban transportation system coupled with smart technology can be the driving force of public transport-oriented sustainable cities. To this end, Hyundai Motor Group will work on building a smart urban transportation infrastructure in cooperation with the local governments in Korea and other global cities, not only as a DRT service provider, but also as a mass mobility as a service platform. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you. Actually, I myself took the shuttle service before I coming to World Bank in this seminar. So I found the shuttle service is very, very comfortable and also relatively faster than the existing public transportation service. And also very affordable price. The fare is very competitive, I think. So I myself, generally, I thought the DRT is maybe the solution, very useful solution for the small the mobility service in small and the medium cities actually. But I found it. I showed it actually. So now we are going to have the panel discussion. First of all, Brian, Professor Brian Bob, please come here. Yeah, and the Jang Min-ju, Director Jang Min-ju, yeah, and the Benedict, please take a seat here. Yeah. So and also two presenters may have a sit there. So we don't have much time. I think it's the DRT has three very important aspects of the new mobility service. The first one is the technology innovation. That the DRT is the very innovative service technologically. And the second issue is the economically or commercially viability. That is also very important. And the third issue, in my mind, the third issue is most important. That is the social agreement to resolving the social conflict with between the new mobile service, and the existing operators. So I think it's the Brian. First, the discussant. How do you see Brian is let me introduce first. Brian is the professor in the engineering systems and the environment department, University of Virginia. So is Professor Brian Bach is the professor in transport engineering and planning. So what is your assessment of the DRT service, especially in Korea now? And then I think you think it's quite a promising service in the future?
I think so. I kind of envy that Korea has infrastructure to serve dynamic, responsive transport system. If you think about university towns or any city in the U.S., these so-called Tier A ride services for serving low-income family needing to go to hospitals and then urgent needs for getting social services and things like that. Their systems are heavily subsidized. A lot of researchers are looking at it, and they could not implement high-tech based technology, even though smartphone adoption rate is about 72% in the US. Most of the low-income family, they could not afford to, or they don't know how to use. It's a challenge. So in that sense, I really envy the way Korea has done. In terms of technology that we use for doing this service it's a sort of a variation of the salesman problem, so-called the NP-hard problem. As you have more customers and places to visit, it's impossible to solve in exact solutions. But heuristic algorithms like a genetic algorithm or more recent, a lot of AI-based reinforcement learning technology has shown very promising solution to solve in real time. This is more like pickup and delivery with the vehicle routing problem, with the dynamic needs. And I think it can be solved. The bigger challenge is when you actually do this, two things are important. That you cannot really predict demand side, and you cannot really predict the traffic condition to find the best route. And how do we actually solve those problems is a very challenging one. And hopefully, as a user sees the value of sharing their personal needs for needing the service, and then accrue those data, you have more information about users, and they actually get the benefit back, and they share whatever they want to share, and then they get more benefit. It's one way to solve expected demand in a near future. Instead of doing immediate demand, they can do 30 minutes, 1 hour ahead, or even day before it's possible. I don't know how much time I want to have, but really important aspects I want to share is how to make this as a viable service. Most of these are heavily subsidized anyway, and how do we make advantage of these vehicles to help out public domain? And one of the things we can do is the so-called pace cars, and research has shown that vehicles try to have a string-stable condition, which is ideal for saving fuels and minimizing congestions and even safety as well. Most vehicles travel similar speeds. And then if you have about 20-30% of pace cars in real world, and they do go with a similar speed limit across all lanes, you cannot really do the lane change. You have to force to follow. And then this actually done in Germany when there's a major accident near the bridge or tunnel area. They actually deploy big truck with the pace car, and then they are actually slowing them down. And that's a variable speed limit idea. If you actually don't stop, don't slow down and go there, and then more congestions because it'll have a stop and go conditions that's taking much longer time to recover by doing this.
Okay.
I have a few more ideas, but I'm going to stop there.
Thank you. Next panel is the Director Zhang, Minju Zhang. Now she's working for the Sejong City. You know, the Sejong City is she will explain about just over 10 years old city. It's a new city. And then now is the transportation problem is a very big issue. So now Sejong City trying to innovate the public transport service very much. And then that's why the mayor, the Choi, is attending now here. So what is the main what is the programs and maybe the future the strategy to deal with the public transportation problem in Sejong City? Maybe you say anything within 5 minutes.
Can I introduce by myself first? I'm Minju Zhang, the Director of External Cooperation Division in Sejong City. Because I'm a public officer, I'd rather explain the Sejong transportation to you rather than make a comment to the speakers. So, because it's very precious time, so I make some presentation, a PPT. And I have 5 minutes, and over the 5 minutes, I will quickly introduce Sejong City and Sejong transportation system to you. As you see the screen, Sejong City was planned as an administrative city like Washington, D.C. Maybe you know the Seoul, the capital of South Korea. And one out of two Koreans lives in the Seoul metropolitan area. So Sejong was carried out to solve the concentration problem, and Sejong was established in 2012. And now there are 48 central administrative and public institutions in Sejong City, and 16 national institutes, according to the KOTI, are relocated in Sejong. And President's second office and the National Assembly are planned to be constructed by 2028. And Sejong City project was scheduled to be completed by 2030, so it is still developing, and that's why we can accept the shortcut very easily. And Sejong is pursuing the creation of a city where the public transit is the main means of transporting system. So we introduced the BRT, bus transit system, and the electric bus, and we also operated the public bicycle programs. So help residents in Sejong City use the public bicycle in daily life. And we are considering fare-free public transit, and that's the one reason why we are here in Washington, D.C. And moreover, we also have developed the DRT system to cover the areas where the transportation is inconvenient. And we operate the 3 cases of DRT system: Shuttle for the central area, and Duruta for the agriculture area, and Nurikul for the vulnerable transportation users. So Shuttle, Duruta, and Nurikul, 3 cases of DRT system we are operating. First is the Shuttle. As mentioned earlier, Shuttle is very successful DRT system in Korea, and Sejong City collaborated with Hyundai Motors, so it was developed the public and private sectors working in collaboration, and it runs a short distance. As I mentioned earlier, we have BRT system. It's a main transportation, so it's very important to access the BRT. And Ms. Kim explained that we developed this Shuttle in the first living sphere. Sejong is consists of 6 spheres, and the first living sphere is far from BRT. So we developed the Shuttle, and the residents are very satisfied with that program because it makes them to access the BRT very easily and quickly. And next one is Duruta for the agriculture areas. To solve transportation inconvenience in rural areas, we will develop the Duruta. It runs a fixed route sometimes in rush hour, but it usually operates in on-demand basis. But people used to make a reservation 1 hour prior to the time where they want to go. the last but not least, the DRT for vulnerable transportation users, NURICO, is specially designed for people with disability and the elderly. And we operate that 24 hours a day and 7 days a week and 365 days. And there are two kinds of NURICO. It's a regular one and one for the wheelchair accessible vehicle. Yeah, it's very explain very quickly because of the time. And this is the end of my presentation. Can I open the slide again, the last page? Okay, anyway, the last page is the Eung Bridge that is located in Sejong City. And in transportation perspective, the Eung Bridge consists of 2 stories. You can use, you can walk the first, and you can ride a bike in second. You cannot use a car to cross the river because Sejong City is also aimed at a walking-friendly city. So it's just developing, and I hope you to meet in Sejong to share this experience and knowledge. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's well done. You know, the transportation mobility service in Sejong City is representing the quality of transport, the mobility service in Korea, actually. So I hope the Sejong City will be successful, and also in the future it can represent the Korea in terms of the public transportation service. Now our third panel is the Benedict, the A.G. Bergen, Transport Practice Manager, Old Bank, and then you see what Korea is thinking, doing about the DRT service as kind of the future mobility or new mobility, and then you have many experiences in developing countries. So what is your implications or the possibilities of the DRT service in developed countries in your experiences in the past? Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for this opportunity. First, thank you for inviting me, and first and foremost, thank you for supporting the World Bank. And just want to highlight one of the projects in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia, where we are looking into this. We call it on-demand transit services. So a little bit different title, but the same principle, same concept. And we're developing a pilot in our project for that. So my first impression was actually this is a bit new for me to see this in an urban setting. I'm used to see this in a rather rural setting where people can be connected and can access a kind of tool to ask for transport services, and then a transport service, a bus or taxi, is being driven to a place in a rural area. But this is in an urban area, so there's a bit different kind of concept. So what we're doing in Ulaanbaatar is clearly an urban setting. It's about 1 million population, and it's a harsh environment, of course. So it's you talk about vulnerable people. I think the whole city is vulnerable in a way. So I've been doing a lot of studies, and these studies have been funded through Korea Green Growth and the Smart City program. So again, thank you for supporting that. We could not do this kind of projects, urban mobility projects, without your support. And if you would not been around, then we would have a kind of simple kind of project. But we're doing a complete assessment, diagnostic of the urban mobility situation and challenges in Ulaanbaatar, and coming forward with solutions of for instance, on-demand transit, but also prioritization of investments, rehabilitation of corridors, and also, the MaaS platform, also demand-driven kind of transit services. So we go through a whole set of possible interventions that can improve urban mobility in Ulaanbaatar. So the problem in Ulaanbaatar is motorization is increasing rapidly, and congestion is growing rapidly. So how do you address that? So there is no, that's my answer to your question now, there's no magic bullet here. So I understand and I appreciate The on-demand transit services, that can help enormously, especially for people who are vulnerable, as mentioned, and who are not in places and locations in the city, not well connected to transit or to other services. So it has its place, but it is not I just want to raise manage expectations. It will not address the full picture. Yeah? So that's, and we have to find the niche for this. That it will be effective but also efficient. Of course, we're always the bank, the World Bank. We think in terms of economics, viability. You asked that question: is it viable? Of course, it can be viable. I think that needs some support, public support, some subsidies perhaps, but it needs to be well designed in terms of targeting certain groups in the society, and that's what I like about this concept. I hope this answers your question.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. I think it's the DRT cannot solve everything. So it's the DRT is the one of the multiple the mobility services. Sure. So we have about 8 minutes now. So now we received some questions from you, from the audience. There is a mic in the middle. So please say your name and affiliation and your question very clearly. Please. I will post the 2 or 3 questions and then answer to the discussion. All right? Yeah.
Right. Thanks so much. Very interesting topic. I live in a smaller community here in Virginia. And as we are trying to look for transportation solutions, DRTs are definitely something that comes to mind. And I think that it applies to lots of semi-urban areas here in the United States with urban sprawl, etc. So my question is, do you start to see patterns or kind of thresholds that make DRT more viable or not? For example, if you are serving an area that has a population density of X much, then it kind of creates sufficient demand that makes DRT a viable solution. I'm just saying that public transportation requires the fixed route systems, usually higher density to a certain level that these areas that I just suburban areas do not have. So do you have in mind what's the threshold?
I think it's Kyung-ah. Please prepare later, after having all the questions. Yeah, please go on.
Hi. So I'm actually representing the online chat moderation here. So these questions are from online, and I'm just going to combine them a little bit here. But to allow the DRT, were any policies that had to be adjusted, policies or regulations, to allow the service to take place legally and to fit within the framework of public transport?
Okay. Yeah.
And similarly, what is the level of subsidy that had to be applied to achieve the DRT systems?
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
I think 2 questions might be Director Zhang. Can you answer that, and then I will support you later. Yeah. Okay. Go on. Yeah. Zhang. Yeah.
Thank you very much. My name is Jen Oh, World Bank. Thank you for sharing this interesting case. I wonder if you could elaborate a little bit more this public-private partnership aspect of it. So Hyundai Motors, what do you do? And then what do you receive from the government? And how does it really work?
That is the company secret. Okay, I think Su-young, you can answer as much as you can. Yeah, okay. Please go on. Yeah.
Hello. Thank you for... Hello, everyone. So I'm Nama from the World Bank. And my question is around if you have any lessons learned around integration of DRT with buses. Many presentations talked about that, but what does that mean in reality? Is in timing, flexibility, payment, etc. Any lessons learned? Thank you.
Okay. Brian, can you answer the integration and something like that? You see the last question. So, okay, now it's please starting from the Kyung-ah. Okay.
If my understanding is correct or incorrect, please let me know. As far as I understand, you ask about according to the density of urban areas, which services.
density, urban density, demographic density makes these type of service viable from a demand
All right. Okay.
perspective?
Well, we have a different. Actually, there's three different type of DRT here. So for people with disability, it is not very viable anyway. It needs subsidy actually, and then for rural areas, I mean the DRT, rural DRT, because the demand, the level of demand is quite low, so it is very difficult to meet that commercial viability with such a low level of demand. However, in urban area and with this advanced DRT, we can expect that could be viable. So that means in urban area means not in outskirts of urban city area, is quite high density residential area. We call this apartment something.
So it's not single family, sorry. It's usually multi-family buildings.
Yes, like 4 or 3 members of family, and in living in the like kind of a flat here in America,
Okay,
US.
Kyung-ah, that's it. I think that you might do a PhD study.
Excuse me.
You might do a PhD study later on. All right. Okay. Second question. Yeah. Okay.
So you're asking the regulatory problem, I think, and in Korea, only the bus company can launch the bus in the urban space, in central area. So I explained the Turuta for the agriculture area, it's okay by law, but in the central area, we cannot run kind of DRT system. That's why we use a regulatory sandbox. And it's a test bed, so if we have a successful result, I think that the Korean government will move to change the act maybe. And the subsidiary problem is money, right?
Yeah, money. Yeah.
Oh, that's why we have a collaboration with Hyundai Motors, private sector. And as Ms. Park explained earlier, it is more efficient in a rural space. Because, to run the typical buses costs a lot. But, DRT system is very efficient transportation vehicles in rural spaces. So I think it doesn't matter. I think money doesn't matter in a rural space or the vulnerable transportation users.
I think it's the new regulation or reforming the existing new regulation is very difficult task because politicians are not supporting very well. Okay, because they are very the conscious of the taxi drivers, both from taxi drivers, bus drivers. So that is a very difficult issue actually. Okay, Soo-young, can you explain about the company secret?
Yeah. In Paju, the local government supports subsidies to information transportation company, and we get a platform usage fee as a solution provider. In case of Sejong, actually we support all amount of money to run in DRT because we have to validate our technology and develop our technology as well in practice. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, I think it's more concrete the figures on the cost or subsidies. Maybe you ask through the email. All right? Yeah. Okay. So Brian, can you about the integration issue?
Yeah, I have not worked on that Sejong City with the Hyundai and Shokal, but integration in the level of Korean infrastructure is definitely an advantage over U.S. area. U.S. IRA is call in or submit through template on the website, and then they process some algorithm, which is a really large algorithm. A lot of researchers are doing research to improve on top of that. Korea, to make it better, obviously you want to have a better location technology be used instead of IMXY location, then whatever vehicle can actually designate the location and find the routes. And this has to be integrated into the cloud service, very reliable cloud service. And obviously a lot of security concerns has to be done. There are many ways of doing that. As you know, considering the public and private key based on PK way of assuring safety, I'm sure Korea has many layers of privacy concerns and security concerns of them. And then these are must have before you actually do have a reliable, because this could be easily hacked.
Okay, thank you. You want to say something? I think it's you some regret. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Regarding the integrate, I want to emphasize one key point. In Korea, we have a special fare system, like we call that is a transport discount system. I mean, when you transfer, you don't need to pay within 30 minutes like that. So by using DRT, and when you need to transfer to the fixed route, you can transfer for free. So that is a true integration between DRT and the bus station. I want to emphasize
Okay,
that.
thank you. I think we have consumed the 1 hour already. So the DRT, I think I said the 3 important issues related to DRT, the development. One is the technological innovation. Second is the commercial viability, maybe subsidy program. Third is the social agreement or the conflict issue. I think it's in Korea, technology innovation and the commercial viability, because it's a lot of can mobilize the subsidies, can do provide subsidies. But the third issue is very important, difficult issue. It's a kind of social disagreement and also the solved politically solved. So it's a most difficult and time-consuming issue, I think. But in developing country, might be the ICT infrastructure or the commercial viability might be more important, difficult barriers to introduce the DRT service, I think. Now I conclude the DRT session 6. I congratulate the 20th anniversary of TT seminar of World Bank. Thank you very much for your, I think it's the presentation materials will be distributed if you need. I think Jisun, here's Jisun. She is a coordinator. Please give the applause to coordinate this, the DRT session. Thank you very much. Okay, yeah.